Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Matt Vader 74 here from the Salty Nerd Podcast, and today it's Salty Saturday, or the Saturday morning S&P, or whatever we decided to call this thing. I don't think we've really nailed it down yet. But hey, welcome everybody in the chat. There's a few people in here. I see Joker, Aberjam, Thomas Jensen. Welcome, guys. I'm going to get right to it. Let's introduce our panel today, Mr. Kadish. Everybody knows Matthew Kadish. How you doing, Matt?
Frustrated.
We have he's frustrated. Yes, that's pretty normal though, dude. It's pretty normal. Brian, half the Popcast. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what up?
The lesser half, right? No, I'm just joking.
I mean,
Stature-wise,
only in terms of size.
That's right. That's right.
And intellect.
When
and
Shane
the size of my junk.
When is Shane going to show up? Shane never comes on. We never get to have Shane.
Shane's an older gentleman. Has very gentlemanly duties.
Yeah, we got to get both of you guys on the show someday. And also joining us, the Professor Sean Collette, the Crabapple Critic. We see him over on Matthew's Bad Writing show every once in a while, correct? Yes?
Yep.
Sean,
Yep.
welcome. It's first time on Saturday morning. It's nice to see you.
Yes. Good morning.
How's everybody doing? We all good? Ready to go?
Woo, I woke up like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. I want you to know, Vader, that I'm missing out doing my dailies and Dragon Champions.
I was just going to ask you about that. If you've done those yet. Tell us about your dailies, Matthew.
So we play this game called Dragon Champions, which is kind of like a World of Warcraft style hero collectors game where you download a free game on your mobile device and log in and play it and have a good time. And my OCD requires me to go and collect every single hero in the game and level them up and gear them up and do all this stuff so I can fight other players and prove to them how much better I am than they are. But if you go to saltynerd.com/DC, that takes you right to the app store where you can download the game. It's free to play.
Awesome. Is there an Android version?
Oh yeah, there's an Android version. And if you type in the promo code SALTY when you download the game, basically you get a starter pack where you get a bunch of free stuff. Helps you unlock some cool heroes to start with and get you some gear and some gold and all that good stuff.
I have a question, Matt. Can I join your clan or guild?
You have to be pretty high level to get into the guild I'm in, but I'm sure Vader's guild.
What a weird flex that is.
I actually,
you gotta be pretty high level to get in my guild.
I'm actually not in a guild right now. Well, I'm in a guild, I think, but it's just like the generic one they force you into when you like the guild level pops up. So I don't know. I still need to do that.
See, Brian, I've been playing for 2 years, and so like I'm like super advanced in the game, and my guild only accepts members who are at a certain level. So, but there are a lot of beginner-friendly guilds in there, and that lets you do raids, get better rewards, and all that good stuff. So, if you guys like playing video games on your phone, I definitely recommend checking it out. saltynerd.com/DC, promo code SALTY.
The artwork is very Dota style.
It's very Dota. Yeah. It's very Blizzard. Yes,
and it's a fun story. Like the storylines in the PVE content, when you go through it, it's all kind of tongue in cheek. It's got a lot of jokes to it, and each character is very unique. So I really enjoy reading their little plot lines when you do like the unlocks and stuff.
Sounds like my wife. She was playing Star Trek Timelines for like 2.5, 3 years, and she like get so deep into it, and it's like, I don't get it. What? No. She tried to describe to me what it's all Greek to me. I don't know. I my last gaming time that I spent, I used to play Left 4 Dead online with a friend of mine, and that was it.
I literally play this game every day, and I think that this is a good segue into our first discussion, which is Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard.
Pretty wild stuff right here, man. As a longtime Blizzard fan, man, it's just, I never thought I'd see something like this happen. I mean, because I always thought of Blizzard as being like the pinnacle, one of the best companies out there. But of course, that all went to crap a few years back. And I really don't play any Blizzard games at the moment. So seeing something like this happen is kind of wild.
The decline in Blizzard's quality in terms of the games they put out started once Activision acquired them. And then like they had all that horrible stuff come out about their working conditions and the harassment and all that stuff that was going on there. And they've had a really bad PR year. But guys, so Sean, Brian, I don't know if you've been following this story, but Activision and Blizzard was sold to Microsoft in a deal worth $68.7 billion. Now, to put that in perspective, Disney bought Star Wars for $4 billion and Pixar for $4 billion. This one was $68 billion.
Yeah, Amazon bought MGM for $8.4 billion, right?
Yeah.
And we thought that was massive.
You're all like, what? That's
so when you
crazy.
say 60 something $billion, this is what I hear. 100 million thousand $billion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's such a large number that it's at the point where it's uncountable.
Made an offer they couldn't refuse.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
it's like the opposite of a hostile takeover. It's like, oh, well,
exactly. Can you imagine, takeover. I mean, were they holding out for more money, and that's why it got to 68 billion, or was it like?
No. I think what happened was they offered him so much money. The board just had to say yes to appease the shareholders.
Absolutely, it's crazy.
And what's weird to me, and I don't know exactly what this means, if it's actual literal, but it's an all cash deal.
Right.
What?
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it said. It said all cash.
That means Microsoft has
like a semi trucks of cash coming up.
You got
to
$68 billion just like in their couch cushions. Like, oh yeah, no big deal. You know, pull it out of the grocery account.
It's wild. It's just wild.
We did the math though, man. Listen, they have 200 million subscribers or something worldwide on
actually
Game Pass.
It's you're talking about Microsoft?
Yeah, Microsoft. So they're making upwards of $10 billion a month in revenue from subscribers, dude.
So here's some interesting statistics about this deal. So Activision has 400 million monthly users that Microsoft is now going to be adding to their roster.
See, I thought that was a typo when I read that earlier. That doesn't seem real.
In addition to that, so just I believe FIFA alone brings Activision like $1 billion a year. And that's one video game. So Microsoft in purchasing Activision Blizzard has this huge library of video games now that they can make exclusive if they want to.
Yeah.
That they can also add to their Game Pass. But in addition to that, every single studio that works for Activision, right, is now going to be making exclusive titles for Microsoft, which was always their kind of Achilles heel in the fight against Sony, because Sony was really good at getting exclusives, right?
Because they have their own developers.
Exactly. And now Microsoft is going to be able to compete with that. And it's just like, and plus this deal happened when the stock for Activision was on the decline due to all like the harassment and public relations nightmares and all that other stuff.
It was like Wolf of Wall Street over there in their offices. They were throwing midgets and stuff.
They got it cheap. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And when this deal was announced, Sony's stock tanked because everyone's like, Sony got blindsided by this.
What's fascinating to me about this whole thing is, the gamer brain in me thinks that the big get here is, like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft and stuff like that. But this also includes King Games, so it's like Candy Crush Saga, and those are the games that make the bank for these companies. It's not the little the World of Warcraft stuff that I play with their $15 a month and everything. It's these mobile games that make the money. And
they get you for a couple dollars every few days.
It's like Dragon Champions. There's our segue. I mean, those are the games that make money. It's incredible how much money these things make.
What's funny is like EA was criticized when they had the exclusive Star Wars license that they didn't make any games, and so they must not have made any money, right? But they released that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes mobile games, which is very similar to Dragon's Champion. It's a hero collector game set in the Star Wars universe. I mean, that game made $2 billion a year, and it's still going. So like,
wow,
yeah. So like that,
my brother plays that game.
So do I. I play it every day. But like the it's all microtransaction based, and so like these mobile games make tons of money, and that's one of the things that Activision Blizzard was focusing on, was the mobile gaming sphere, which Microsoft is now going to own. And in addition to that, and I know that this is a buzzword whenever I bring it up on the podcast, but Activision was really heavy into gaming NFTs. So like if you're playing a video game, you can earn stuff that are NFTs in the game, so you can actually own like your armor, your characters, like stuff like that. And gaming NFTs are like the next big thing, because you can create secondary marketplaces for those things. Like you can sell like the skin for your weapon in Call of Duty if it's an NFT, and like all that other stuff. And so Microsoft is now going to be doubling down on like that whole NFT sphere in gaming. And this is a game changer in terms of like the video game industry, in my opinion, because Microsoft just made the biggest move possible, especially after they shut down Mixer. Do you guys remember Mixer? The Twitch rival that Microsoft created, and they like poached Ninja and all that stuff.
Yep. Yes, pretty wild.
It with all of these acquisitions from these enormous companies, and they all seem to getting like centralized into one company. Pretty soon we're going to be like Riker on that alternate Enterprise when he's like, the Borg are everywhere. That's what it reminds me. It's like, they're taking over everything. I mean, good luck being an independent company, like within the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just buying everything. I'm
not gonna lie, I am much more interested in what these companies like the one that Mike Morhaime has going, that he got out of Blizzard and then he went and made a new gaming company, and I haven't seen anything out of them yet, but I'm assuming that those are the kind of companies that I'm going to start gravitating to play the games that I want, because I like smaller independent things. I don't like monopolies. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of all this. I don't know if they're going to make, if the games that they have currently, like Call of Duty and WoW and those kind of stuff, if they'll turn them around and get them going again, or maybe a World of Warcraft 2 or a StarCraft MMO end up coming out of this or something. But I feel like, as far as Blizzard goes, I just want to see some new stuff out of them. I'm a Blizzard fanboy. I have been for 20 years, 25 years, since the original Diablo came out. So seeing that company in particular being just destroyed as much as it has been in the last 4 or 5 years has been hard on me. So I'm hoping good things come of this, at least as far as Blizzard goes, so I guess
I can tell you, I mean, my take on such an acquisition, especially from this particular company, nothing seems to really get better. It always seems to get more buggy, but I would expect a lot of the games that you're into are going to go through major revamping, like within the next year. And what that revamping is probably going to do is reorient it towards new operating system protocols that will be, I mean, pretty soon, you might not wake up to, to anything other than like in 5 years, we're all going to be waking up in a virtual world and going, wait a minute, shut off the game, hold on. It's like, because it will dominate your life. I mean, they don't make acquisitions like this, especially not for this price, without something big in mind.
I mean, the whole gaming world is changing. I mean, I've told my wife, I'm going to die killing dragons in virtual reality. You're just going to come in the room someday and find me dead on the floor with a thing attached to my head. That's just how it's going to go.
Can I tell you something? If virtual reality gets that amazing, I'm going to die of dehydration.
Yeah, I mean that's where I haven't gone into it yet, because it's still all blocky and pixelated and full of weirdos and stuff in there.
Right.
But if we get to the point where I can like,
hey, I invited you one time.
10 years from now, we'll probably be doing this show from a virtual reality space, and our avatars will be on the screen. But
will my avatar be skinnier?
Oh, I hope mine will be. I know I'm gonna whatever. It's fine. But it's just technology. The way it's advancing is wild, and I know we're kind of like getting off the topic, but it's cool. I like to see where we're going, man. It's interesting, and I don't know what else to say.
Well, I've got something to say.
What's that,
Matthew? It has to do with what you just talked about in terms of your future. And so, as all of our fans out there know, that we've been working really hard to go full time on the podcast so that people can quit their crappy day jobs and
I
just
see where
work
you're
on
going
content
here.
creation full time. And last night, Matt Vader made a pledge.
Oh boy.
Matt Vader said that if we can hit 10,000 subscribers and 1,000 Patreon members
No, it's not what it is.
by what was it, April? By the summer.
July 4th.
By July 4th.
Yeah.
He would get a tattoo of the Salty Nerd logo on his ass
Mm-hmm.
in celebration of hitting that mark, because he'd be able to quit his job and do this full time.
Yes.
So for all you out there who want to force Matt Vader to get an ass tattoo, and we will live stream him getting it.
Live stream it. Yeah.
Please help us reach that goal of 10,000 YouTube subscribers and 1,000 Patreon members.
Excuse me,
Matt. He doesn't think we can get there, but I believe
I would join that campaign if you throw a little Popcast Brian cartoon right on the other cheek.
It's going to be hard enough as is.
Just a little, just my face, not Shane's face. Just I will actively campaign for you.
Well, do a stunt like that live streamed. I guarantee you'll double the subscribers from 10,000, or 100,000. I mean, quick. People are going to pay to see that.
And Matt Vader does not have any tattoos.
No, I have no
his
tattoos.
First tattoo.
Neither do I.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would be on his massive butt cheek.
Yeah.
I sent you a package, by the way, Vader.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about that when we get off air.
Okay.
I got a question for you. So, yeah.
Like a pig.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be very big. It won't be very big at all. I'm actually getting older, and my ass is shrinking, and it's all moving to my gut. So that's what happens when you get old. So
yeah. So guys, if you want to help Matt Vader, please take up this cause, and we will all benefit from the ass tattoo.
Totally.
Give us some ink. Give us some ink.
All right. So let's talk about Book of Boba Fett, Episode 4.
All right.
Have you guys been watching this show, Brian and Sean?
Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes. I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
You haven't watched Episode 4 yet?
Episode 4, yeah. Yeah, Shane. Yeah, we were talking about yesterday, and Shane was like, I kept saying 3 episodes, and he was like, "No, it's 4 episodes." I'm like, "Okay, well, okay, whatever." 4th episode. Yeah. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people have a problem with Boba Fett for whatever reason, but I have enjoyed it so far. It hasn't pulled me to the point where I'm like, "Wow, I got to go watch this 4th episode right away."
Mm-hmm.
But I'll turn it on when I need something to watch. So. And I do like the character a lot. I don't like the Power Rangers so much. They're weird to me. But I like the development feels like almost like old timey, where they're taking their time to develop him as a character and not just like, oh, here's this cool badass that shoots people. There's actual like grief there and relationships, and I like it. And I love I'm gonna murder this name. Myling. And what's her name?
Myling. Yeah.
Myling. Yeah.
No,
I love her. I love her.
It's not Myling. It's Ming Na.
I see.
Yeah.
You ruined it. Yeah, Ming Na. Okay, I love her.
Myling is the girl in Bloodsport that gets raped.
Okay.
I knew I recognized
Kickboxer.
Kickboxer. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
She was an Agents of
bleed
S.H.I.E.L.D.
like Myling.
And she never ages, man. She has looked the same.
Yeah.
Since I was skinny.
Well, you remember she was Chun-Li in Street Fighter.
That's right. Yeah. She's awesome. I like her a lot. And she's like, what is she, in her 50s, 60s, or something like that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, she's probably my age. Probably a little younger. I don't know. Ming Na Wen, thank you, Joker, in the chat. That is correct. Did we want to do a quick breakdown of the episode, or do we just want to like get? I mean, I think everybody's probably seen the episode.
I want to know why Sean is refusing to watch this show. Have you given up on Star Wars, Sean?
I mean, it's. This has my heart. It always has, except it died in 2005 for me. But I haven't watched it, like even The Mandalorian yet. And I guess because I've listened to a lot of the reviews and things like that, and I've read the breakdowns of the a lot of the episodes from the first season, and they're all Westerns that I've seen before. Because when I was growing up, I was a big Western fan. And I'm thinking, maybe I just haven't pulled the trigger. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of television, except when Nicole and I are, going to sleep. And usually we're just doing the old callback thing right now we're just about to finish binge watching Seinfeld. So, because none of the new shit works for us. It's like, that's the other thing too. Maybe you guys can clear this up for me. Why is Boba Fett a big, he was never a character when I was growing up. It was, it was always the main characters. And then suddenly sometime mid 80s, he just blew up and people were big fans of him. And then in the 90s, it just got more and more. And he was such a peripheral character in the films. I guess, is he in the expanded, universe? Because I got a friend of mine that's read all of the expanded universe books and things. But I mean, is this?
Yeah, he's huge in the books and all that.
Is he? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I just
it's
never
all
got
because
it.
It's all because of the armor. Like he just looked cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's really cool looking armor. It's badass, but I don't know. It's I don't know. I as a person who was never really big into Star Wars, it's just I'm glad that there's something out there for Star Wars fans because of what Jar Jar and everybody did to the other the movies. And I knew Favreau's doing The Mandalorian. Is he who's producing this one? It's created by
it's the same crew.
Favreau and
same crew.
But
so
also,
you at least have an outlet.
Robert Rodriguez is also heavily involved.
Oh, well then, yeah, it's probably really good. And I'm glad that Star Wars fans have an outlet. I'm just waiting for somebody to do the same thing for Star Trek. And I'm not holding my breath though.
We're going to talk about that in a different segment.
It's really well made. It's really well made for sure.
Well, that's the thing. The Unreal Engine atmosphere, I imagine they're doing everything probably on the same location. And actually, that's something that I'm going to be starting to integrate in the visual effects class at the school. Because I just ordered motion tracking cameras and all kinds of stuff like that for live projection and Unreal Engine 5 rendering. But I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger on watching it. Maybe I'll get into it this semester. I guess I'll take a look.
I don't have any problem with us exploring more of Boba Fett. Boba Fett to me was always one of those periphery characters that was just a really cool addition to the Star Wars universe. Ever since he had his whole no disintegration scene with Darth Vader, and put Captain Solo in the cargo hold and all that kind of stuff. He was a cool character, and I as a kid back then, a 10-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, I always wanted to know more about Boba Fett. I'm not gonna lie, he was an awesome character, even though we hardly ever saw him. So I'm actually very happy that we're seeing more of Boba Fett. I'm not, however, super thrilled with the direction that they've taken the character in this series. It's very strange to me. So, but
being owned by Disney, it might be a little more G-rated than you might think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, as far as this, go ahead, Matt.
They're taking a rogue character and turning him into a good guy with morals and values and stuff like that.
That's not what you like the character for.
Exactly. And one of the things I hate about this show is that part of what made Boba Fett such an interesting character was his mystique. Like the mystery surrounding it. You didn't know what he looked like. You didn't know what his past was. He was just a badass, like he was a guy who'd fly around on a jetpack and fight, people with lightsabers. So the whole thing about him being this kind of mysterious bounty hunter was 90% of his appeal, and the other 10% was like how cool he looked. And throughout, the all the way from the Attack of the Clones, the episode 2 to now, they've completely destroyed the mystique around the character because you know what he looks like, what his origins are, and in my opinion, it's gutted the character. Right?
Every character's mystique until you get to know them. I mean, Han Solo was a bad guy.
There's a difference, though.
Until he found the right group of people to center himself around.
I wouldn't have called Han Solo a bad guy. He was a rogue.
He was in his words, he was a scoundrel.
But the whole thing that I'm trying to make a point about is that part of what made Boba Fett such a fan favorite was that we didn't know anything about him. He was mysterious. Right. And when and Sean, you can back me up on this in terms of like filmmaking and storytelling. Whenever you rob a character of their mystique, you take what was cool about them and you just throw it out the window.
Right. And he was not written to be an expanded character. That's the key. He was written specifically in Star Wars as a mysterious type of character. And when you start deconstructing and putting all these things to it, it is going to lose a lot of that darkness that the character has, because now if they're going to be putting a moral compass on this guy, there's not going to be any surprisses. Don't look for any surprises. I disagree
entirely. Like you can definitely expand on a character. Like that's silly to say. Oh, this character can't be expanded upon.
We're not saying that.
No, I didn't say it couldn't be.
Hold on. You don't lose the character that was great. What you're doing is you're building on a character that was built around his mystique. Well, now you know a little more about him, and he might have been written as like this bounty hunter sort of bad guy, but then he had a traumatic event, got stuck in the Snorlax or whatever it's called, the pit,
the Sarlacc pit,
whatever it is, the Snorlax pit. He comes out of the Snorlax pit. He goes to the desert. He gets trapped by the sand people. He learns that they're not so bad. There's a different side to them. He is evolving as a character, and we've only seen 3 episodes of evolution. So he's probably trying to do better. That doesn't mean he's always going to do better. He might end up being more of an anti-hero.
Anti-heroes are fine. In the first 3 episodes, we basically got flashbacks of Boba Fett and his what was what's the Kevin Costner movie with the Indians?
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, we got Dances with Banthas for the first 3 episodes. Okay, that's what that show was. And then we're up to episode 4, which Brian hasn't seen yet. And I gotta admit, episode 4 was my favorite one of the season so far.
Now I want to watch it.
It's worth the watching because we get a little bit more of the Boba Fett that I want to see. I mean, his ruthless streak comes out. I mean, he's on a mission, to go get Slave One back. I'm not calling it the Fire Spray. I'm calling it Slave One because that's its name. Okay, screw you, Disney, and your stupid anti-whatever. So him and Fennec Shand, the whole point of the show is they're trying to invade Jabba's palace to get Slave One back, and that's the story we get. And once he gets Slave One back, he immediately has some things that he needs to go check off. The first thing of which is to go and destroy that swoop gang that's been terrorizing the Sand People and who also are cutting in on the protection money. Right? Is that right? And there's this scene in this where the swoop gang is riding their speeders through the desert, and it's absolutely beautifully cut. They're like 20 of them are their biker gangs going down the desert, and all of a sudden you see this little spot come in behind them, and it's Slave One slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then Boba Fett just absolutely unloads his blasters on and wipes out the entire speeder gang. It's awesome. Incredible. It's just incredible, and it's just like, yes, that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, those guys took out his sort of surrogate to dance with Wolves.
Yeah. Right? He took out his tribe, There
you go.
And
handle business.
It was wild. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's Boba Fett, ruthless man. It's just like, take them all out.
Let me just throw this in here, okay?
Yeah,
so what I'm talking about in keeping a character that has mystique, but also furthering developing the character. Sean, back me up on this. If you look at the movie Pale Rider by Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That is a movie where the main character, the preacher, has tons of mystique around him, and yet he develops as a character throughout the course of the movie.
Right.
And so you can preserve mystique around a character while still developing that character. And my problem with this show is that every time Boba Fett takes off his helmet, every time we see fat old Tamora Morrison 5 years previous in Return of the Jedi times, it completely robs the character of mystique for me. And I believe that there are ways that you can do that properly that make the character more interesting while preserving the mystique. And Pale Rider is a good example of that.
Yeah, what I mean by the ability to, well, he was, as I said at the beginning of this whole thing, he was not written as a character that they were going to dive into. He was just written as a threat to our heroes, and not that he can't be expanded upon, but especially when Disney gets involved, they're typically going to be, something.
Boba Fett was introduced as a cartoon in the Christmas special, the Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah,
and he was such a hit that they put him into the live action.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, so you introduce this guy, and he's, God, this Christmas special. Now I got to go wash my brain. But the thing is that when you're looking at it, developing this character is going to be a real challenge to do it right. And if it's not done properly, now I will give Favreau kudos. He's been doing amazing work. He's really good at what he does, and he seems to be maintaining what is true about the franchise to the degree that he can, and Robert Rodriguez even more so. So there is a chance that they can expand the character, but as you said, Matthew, the taking off the helmet is kind of going to lose that, I don't know, that certain something. It's like the Band-Aid on the back of the head in Pulp Fiction. As soon, because Marcellus is written as a character that's supposed to be elevated, and then as soon as he's revealed as to who he is, remember, we didn't know who Ving Rhames was at the time. As soon as he's revealed, he loses that mystique, and he becomes just another character in the cast. And I'm afraid that might be something that might turn people off to, a character like Boba Fett. It'd be kind of neat if he always kept the helmet on. And but then they're already doing that with the Mandalorian, right? He always kept the helmet on.
He takes his helmet off now too.
Yeah.
Oh, does he? Okay, yeah. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, if without the temper tantrums, what's his name from the Star Wars sequels? The bad guy, the
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Keep the helmet on and get rid of the temper tantrums, and he's more of a threat. Yep. And I think that's one of the things that ruined Kylo Ren was the fact that he's a child and he takes the helmet off. There's no mystique. So, which is what we got of Vader, which held up the character for three films. So. I mean, I think it can be done right. It's just got to be done very carefully.
Well, I know for a fact that people have overwhelmingly been very kind of like meh about the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
it hasn't generated as much hype as the Mandalorian. And really, like, to me, I always felt that the crime story, like him becoming a crime boss, was the far more interesting story than seeing like how he survived the Sarlacc pit and his time with the Sand People and all this other stuff. So like every time it would flash back to that story, I'd lose interest because I just got bored. And then like when it goes back to him trying to be like this crime boss, and I'm like, okay, there's some intrigue here. There's some drama. And it looks like they've caught up in episode 4 with all the flashback stuff. Yeah. So now it's just going to be the full blown crime war in Mos Espa going forward for the last, was it 3 episodes? I think we got.
Yeah, I think there's 3 more episodes, I think that's right. I don't know,
so is Vito Fett? Is that what he's doing? Is it the Godfather?
Basically,
okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much the Godfather. He's slowly building like his little like where they call it. It's not a clan. It's I forget what, but they got like a special name for it, and they keep calling him Daimyo.
Yeah, Daimyo.
It's like how the politics in that area work. It's built around these like territories, like old school crime families.
You got family.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You disappointed me, Fredo. I'm sorry, I forgot Fredo was a racial slur. I apologize.
All right, so we've talked about Book of Boba Fett. Let's talk about Star Trek Picard season 2, where we had a big trailer reveal come out yesterday for the 2nd season. And this series is coming up pretty quickly. I believe it premieres in March.
Oh, God.
And
March 3rd.
March 3rd, and we're all former Star Trek fans here, at least of the original. And I don't know about you guys, but when I watched the first season of Picard, I was flabbergasted at how bad
That was awful.
that show was. And so this show has a lot to prove in its second season, and it doesn't look like it's going to do it based off of the new trailer. So what do you guys think about?
I'm a huge Star Trek fan still. No sarcasm. I love Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm still a huge Star Trek fan too. I'm a Star Trek fan of my Star Trek, back in the 80s and 90s. This trailer, I don't know what I can really say about this trailer other than my initial first impression, because I've only watched it once last night. But the first thing, and I just have to say this, Patrick Stewart looks and acts like he's 125 years old.
He does. He looks so old.
It's so hard for me to see this walking, I don't want to say corpse because that's too mean, but this ancient old man trying to play this character that we all love so much. It's in his, I think it's in his voice, the way he talks, the way the character just kind of dawdles around. And it's so hard for me. It really is. Rough. And it's just, and I think that's a big problem I'm having with the series in particular. See, even all the characters that they're bringing back are just so old. And I just hate it. I don't want my lasting image of Captain Picard to be some doddering old fool with a walker, getting beamed up from spaceships to spaceship. It's just, I don't know what to say. It's too much. It's like, retire already, man. So
they had such a great opportunity at the end of season 1 to replace Patrick Stewart with a younger actor.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked that they didn't do that because, he owns the character. People love him, but he's not going to be around much longer. I'm sorry to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they had replaced him with, like, I don't know, Tom Hardy or someone, like that, they had the perfect setup, putting him in a younger android body. He's still the same character, but he's passing the torch to a new actor who could play that character much longer and in perpetuity.
Well, it should have been, first of all, it's not Picard. This is not the man that we grew up knowing. This is, and not by any stretch of any imagination is this Picard. This is, and it's also not the world. There's no way that the Federation and things like that would develop from this particular background. It wouldn't. If we were to ever hit this type of enlightenment, we're not going back. It's not going to happen. But for Patrick Stewart to play this character again, with all of the caveats, he's playing the character only because he gets to let his lefty pinko side out.
Yeah.
And the apology tour. But the other thing that if they had replaced him with a younger actor as an android body, but then like, whenever we hear him or go into his mind, it could have just been Patrick Stewart sitting in a dark room thinking about what the situation is that they're doing. That might have worked, because then you could keep Patrick Stewart on in the cast for a while and let our inner monologue or see his thoughts or something like that, and he's represented, because that's who he would be. But this is just, and as I said before in another, in the bad writing thing, these shows don't have to be good because they're not reliant upon reviews. They don't have to be popular. You're already subscribing to the service, so it's being paid for, and they don't have to be good. They can throw whatever they want, and it'll continue.
Yeah, which is apparent because Discovery keeps on getting renewed for new seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all know that's absolute garbage.
It's never going to get good.
We're still subbed, so you know. They're gonna keep making whatever they think their subs want, and from their perspective, we're all still subbed. They don't know that they don't know we have a problem with it,
Yep.
Well,
I think they don't
gotta sell ad space. You know what I mean?
I think they know.
they have the viewer metrics on those shows, but so I wanted to talk about some of the things that we saw in the trailer. So first of all, Whoopi Goldberg is back as Guinan.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What?
Whoopi!
Really?
Yes, and she's old, fat Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
And I thought Guinan was never supposed to like change, but
Yeah.
and we also have Brent Spiner back
Of
Yep.
course.
as Brent Spiner. Like I don't know exactly. Like he's a past version of Dr. Singh, I think.
Of course.
Yeah. But guys, this is not. I don't think this is the android Sing. I think this is the sorry.
Original.
I think this is the Soon that did the what are they called? The eugenics, whatever.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah,
It's
probably.
The con people.
Yes, I think it's that Soon because remember there somehow that character plays both characters.
Mhm.
And which is fine, whatever. But in the trailer, they hand him a vial, and remember they're coming back to 2024, which, if you remember in Star Trek lore, right around the corner is World War III and the eugenic wars.
Yep.
Well, also, so like they're going to an alternate Earth, isn't that correct? Like
I don't know. I don't know if it's alternate or if the timeline has been modified somehow.
The multiverse again?
Well, we also have Q coming back. So John Delancey played a big role in this trailer.
I think it's a multiverse. I think that Q changed like one or two minor things in order to teach Picard a lesson.
Yeah, this whole season is
Picard.
going to be Q messing with Picard.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right. And so they have to go back and they have to modify that. They have to make sure that change doesn't happen because let's say the change is eugenic wars, they get a leg up and they actually win. And that's what modifies, history into this fascist version of.
Now, if they did something like that where they explain Mikey Spock and all this other stuff, then I would be down with it. And it's just a game by Q. And he just, at one point snaps his fingers and we go into season 5 of Enterprise. I'm down with it. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, dude.
No, it's not going to happen. So those are my conditions right there. Other than that, it ain't going to happen. So
we also saw a lot of Dr. Girardi in this trailer, and it looks like she's not paying any price for all the murdering she did.
Yeah.
And we also,
I hate that so much. That
we also have a lot of Jerry Ryan in this episode, and it looks like she was never assimilated into the Borg, and it's unclear whether or not she's still a lesbian. So.
No, listen, guys, it's because I'm telling you, she wasn't assimilated because her parents didn't take off into the Delta Quadrant. And
there you go.
That happened.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And because that didn't happen, we probably weren't introduced. I've made too many videos about this, by the way.
Yeah.
We probably weren't introduced to the Borg yet. In fact, we're probably about to be introduced in this new timeline. That's when they should be showing up to Earth if they got to Earth via the normal progress of time versus beelining for Earth once they discovered humans.
Well,
the Borg Queen also plays a big role.
I was going to say the Borg Queen was in the trailer, which means that the Borg have something to do with season 2.
I got a question. If we're all fascist, in the future, in this new future, right? We're all wearing like red MAGA hats and carrying tiki torches or something, right? But look how quickly they dispatched the Borg. The Borg I'm not saying it's a good future, but they easily handled the Borg to the point where they keep the Queen in a cage for fun.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is maybe fascists suck, but they obviously know how to do war. Obviously.
I don't know. They've been losing quite a bit.
Maybe
I know, but not in this timeline. In this timeline, they keep the Borg Queen in the cage and they poke at her.
Maybe this is where the timeline splits and we get the mirror universe. So
yes, I would like that actually.
Yeah, I like the mirror universe. It's way more interesting than
I would like if Q was responsible in some way for the mirror universe. Like, what if he's playing around so much to the point where there's two separate universes and the continuum's like, well, we can't just make this change and just drop out this entire universe Q, and they have to literally splinter the universes. That would make a lot of sense. And I know we're getting convoluted here, but it has been 70 years of Star Trek. At some point does a story get convoluted? Look what they do in the comic books. They have to constantly reboot the comics, like these big events where the universe implodes and all the characters finite into one, and then they fight Galactica, and what I don't know.
Well, that's what they're doing in the EMCU right now. It got so convoluted, we have to like blow everything up and then make everything more convoluted again.
Yeah, and the last season of Picard had like the space robot tentacles.
Yeah,
we had to do that in D&D a couple of times because our characters kept getting too powerful.
Yeah,
we played for so long, and then it was just like the DM would just blow up the universe and start over again. But
they do the same thing in comic books. In DC and Marvel, it's like every 20 years they have this big event where they shrink the universe again and sort of restart. They do it every 15, 20 years.
That seems to be a theme. I know, like in World of Warcraft and MMOs, it's like every other expansion that comes out, you get your characters reset back down to like level 60 or something, and everything.
Well, this is what Thomas Jefferson suggested. We have a new revolution every 20 years. But I told my students about the new Spider-Man film and why I couldn't get invested in anything like that. I was like, because it's a multiverse and I don't know which one is mine, so therefore I'm out. My stakes, I don't care.
Bro, they're played by different actors.
Yeah, but
you can tell.
It's like, who cares? But which one is mine? I mean, mine is Tobey Maguire, personally.
That's the beauty of it, bro. Whichever one you want.
Whichever one you feel like.
I'm out. Like I said, it's
because he's cute.
I'm out. That's an awkward nerd at school that can't get girls, right?
So
I like that. I like that version now.
Real quick, let's go around the panel. Are you guys looking forward to season 2 of Picard? Let's start with you, Brian.
Yeah, because I get a lot more content.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, listen, guys. Hey, let's be real. We need something to do, And for like a year, there wasn't anything. You know how hard it is to make videos about stuff that's not happening.
That you love, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I find the podcast videos covering Star Trek and Orville and stuff far more entertaining than the actual episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Themselves.
Yeah,
that's our intention. So I'm glad. That's the case. Yeah. Shane sits there and he'll rewrite. He doesn't. I'm about to blow up Shane's spot right now. Shane will take and let's say season 1 of Picard, and he'll spend a god awful amount of time rewriting it to make it correct, to make it good, to make it like the story progresses to the point where where us fans not only like it, but it also introduces new changes. And then it'll be like, how can we write that into video stuff? And I'm like, we don't have footage of any of this stuff. Like he had this whole idea of Chakotay and introducing him as this character that you're following and versus Picard.
Get a conceptual artist to draw some stuff for you.
Yeah, and that's what he thought. His idea was we need to find an artist to start giving us like frames that we can then animate into our videos.
Yeah. Sean, are you looking forward to Star Trek or Picard season 2?
Yes.
Vader, are you looking forward to it?
So I'm gonna hate watch it just because I need to know what happens. It's kind of ridiculous. I haven't watched the new Discovery season yet at all. I'm completely out on that show. I don't care what happens on that show. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's a little bitty part of me that is a little interested in what they're going to do here. And I absolutely know I'm going to get annoyed and pissed off and scream and holler and get mad. And, but I also am one of these guys that I don't like to talk about shows like we're doing right now without having a reference point. So I need to watch it to talk about it. So yeah, I'm going to watch it.
I remember when you and I were watching season 1, we were like abused girlfriends. We're like, you're like, oh, it's okay. Like, it means well, we're going to continue with it. It can't get any worse. And then like, as the season went on and on, we we were like, screw this show. Like this is insulting.
Yeah. It's
still better than Discovery.
Oh yeah, well, I don't care about Discovery.
They're both
when they send Discovery in the future, I'm like, oh yes. First off, that it sort of starts the process of correcting canon, but also, and the most important part is, I don't have to watch it anymore.
Nope,
has nothing to do with the current storyline. Cool, they can go and play in the future, and I can just, I don't gotta make videos about it. I don't even gotta talk. I don't gotta talk about it at all. It's awesome.
All right, so talking about TV shows and sci-fi, we have some news on the Ahsoka Star Wars series that is on Lucasfilm's agenda. So as we all know, Ahsoka played by Rosario Dawson, made an appearance in The Mandalorian Season 2. And, she's a character from the Clone Wars cartoon show written by Dave Filoni. And basically, they're turning it into a live action show where apparently Hayden Christensen's going to be involved. And it's being written and produced by Dave Filoni. And it's set 5 years after Return of the Jedi, I believe. And basically, we got some news today that Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who we last saw in Birds of Prey as Huntress, and the Netflix original series Kate, the Chickwick movie, she has been cast in a as yet unknown character in the Ahsoka TV show. And I'm just wondering how this thing is going to play out, because I guess like it's going to have to do with her trying to find what's his name, the Jedi from Rebels.
Yeah, I think what we're getting here is we're going to get flashbacks with Hayden Christensen and Ahsoka exploring her, Jedi stuff. And the story we're going to get is probably the continuation of Rebels, where they're going to be looking for Ezra. And I don't know. I haven't read the article yet because this is kind of new to me. I know they're going to have somebody play the little Mandalorian chick that was in Rebels. What's her name? I can't think of her name. Chat, help me out. What's quick Joker? Somebody help me. What's her name? Anybody?
We're just really enjoying watching
Sabine Wren. I know she's probably going to have to be in this show. And I'm kind of actually very intrigued. I liked Rebels. I thought Rebels was a really good show by the time it ended. And I was very curious about where that was going to go, especially after that last episode. So, yeah, give me some Ahsoka. I want to know. I want some Admiral Thrawn.
I find it interesting that the show was announced, and so we've got the Obi-Wan show, right, which Hayden Christensen's also supposed to be in. We've got the Mandalorian. We've got the Book of Boba Fett. We've got the Cassian Andor show. I don't know if they're still going forward with the Galactic Rangers. With
it's off.
That's dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
So like Ahsoka is probably replacing that. So we got 5 Star Wars TV shows in the pipeline, and it's unclear like how good any of them are really going to be. So, but with Dave Filoni writing this, I assume it's just going to be like the cartoon series, except live action.
And that's why I'm intrigued by this show in particular, because I want to see the continuation of that story. I want to know where Ezra ended up going with Thrawn on their light speed space whale after the end of that episode. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
I think they should cast Jamie Costa as Obi-Wan. If you haven't seen this guy, he's absolutely amazing. He's got a YouTube channel. And he did a Star Wars, fan film type of thing. Jamie he's absolutely brilliant. He managed to fusion Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor together almost perfectly in his portrayal. And I was thinking, wow, this guy could be in he could definitely do it. And if you haven't seen his Robin Williams impression, it's amazing. So, check out, this guy. It's like, wow. As far as this guy, that's 5 shows on Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I feel left out because they're the only Star Trek I'm getting is reruns. Everything else is.
Brian, what do you think of the Ahsoka live action show? Are you looking forward to it?
I have zero opinions. I don't even know who that character is.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I do like Rosario, whatever.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson's great. Yeah,
that's the character.
I mean, I like the actress, but I don't really know. I didn't really watch the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that. So
yeah, I didn't watch it either. But I did see like Rosario Dawson as this character. It's perfect casting, and she's brilliant in anything she does. So yeah. It's probably going to be good.
I still haven't seen Mandalorian season 1, so.
There you go. I think it's in good hands. I think you guys, you Star Wars fans are in good hands. At least you're being taken care of.
Matt, make a note when we talk about Star Wars. Don't invite Brian on the show.
Well,
Look,
okay,
if
so
you look at our channel, we're slowly getting into Star Wars. We finally made a Star Wars video that people actually watched because we made one like 3 years ago, and it was so weird. We made a video that literally 4% of our audience clicked on, and no one else. And we were like, oh, okay, so no one wants to watch Star Wars, so we stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were getting into Star Wars because of Mandalorian and Boba Fett. So we decided to create another Star Wars video, and people are starting to respond to it. So as they're making Mandalorian and Boba Fett and like Obi-Wan, like that's interesting to me. We'll get more into it, but
so speaking of sci-fi TV shows, let's round this discussion out with the announcement that Apple TV Plus is making a Monstroverse TV series based around the Godzilla Kong legendary monsters universe of movies that they've done. So Apple TV Plus announced today that in order for a new original live action series from Legendary's Monstroverse franchise, following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco and the shocking new reality that monsters are real, the series explores one family's journey to uncover its buried secrets and the legacy linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. And it's being co-created and produced by Chris Black, who did Star Trek Enterprise and Outcast, and the guy who wrote the comic book Hawkeye, Matt Fraction, will also serve as showrunner. Basically, they're all the Godzilla and King Kong movies. They're taking those and making a TV series out of them for Apple TV, and Apple TV has a pretty good stable of original series. Vader, what do you think of this?
Dude, bro. So number one, I love most of the Apple TV shows that we watch, so I have absolutely zero qualms that they'll be able to handle this. Second of all, I am 100% in on this. I absolutely love the King Kong and Godzilla movies. They're such brain candy. They're pure popcorn flicks to me. I love them. I love all these movies. Just give me more. Absolutely, 100%. Then I want to know what's going on. Let's do it. Make it as cheesy and bad as absolutely humanly possible. Let's go. Let's do it.
Sean, you don't seem convinced.
I mean, hey, it's monsters. It's it's kind of like I guess it could be guilty pleasure type of stuff, and as long as they stay true to it. But I always thought it was kind of silly because based on scale, I always imagined Godzilla stomping through, and then he steps on something. You hear a squish. He looks at the bottom of his foot, and it's King Kong, because the scale was just massive in comparison. And then now when they're bringing them to life in these new movies, they're almost like equal size and everything. So I mean, but it's okay. It's all subjective. It's monsters. I guess it can work.
I think they tried to explain that in the KingOng versus Godzilla, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I it's not my genre, but hey, it sounds like could be fun. I mean,
as long as they can explore like the inner Earth and all that kind of stuff, they could go a million different directions with this, and it would be so much fun. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I only watch stuff like this if I'm like with a group of friends or people. I don't watch this type of content on my own. So it's usually a group effort.
Here's I think one reason I'm looking forward to this, and this is actually the first I heard of this was today when Matt said we were going to talk about it. The fan base isn't entrenched and dug in like they are with these other franchises we all like Star Wars and Star Trek. Nerds are gonna fight. Nerds are always gonna argue. There's always going to be people that are happy with something and pissed off about something else. I don't really see that happening as much with this kind of a show. I mean, yeah, you're going to have your Godzilla purists from the terrible man in the rubber suit stuff and that they're made in Japan, but I consider those completely different. This kind of a thing is kind of brand new. We're starting kind of a new fandom with this, as far as I'm concerned, with this whole legendary Kong universe, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I think it could be something that brings fandom together to talk about this kind of stuff. But I know it won't happen because nerds like to fight and we like to argue, and that's just how we roll. So,
Brian, are you excited at all for a Monsterverse TV show?
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that HBO is not doing it. I'm surprised that Apple got it and not HBO, considering where the Godzilla versus Kong came out. The thing is, the whole Inner Earth thing is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you want to show me kaijus fighting, I'm down. That's awesome. I didn't know there's a whole lot of lore there for me to get into until I saw the last movie, and then I was like, oh, there's actually like a big story here that they can tell. The only problem I have is humans, both in size and significance, are so small to the story. So they're gonna have to really, really write the hell out of this so that we connect to heroes and bad guys that that we can actually relate to.
There might be suffer that type of that's
Right.
actually probably going to be a problem unless they put it in the context of, like, I don't know, a natural disaster where like a disaster movie, things are going on and stuff.
They
like
tried
that,
to do that with like the cyborg, kaiju and all that. They're trying to add humans to the mix. Like, hey, we're contenders too, guys. But
you mean Mecha Godzilla?
Yeah.
I liked the movie, by the way. I liked it. It had problems, but I still liked it.
Bunch of Philistines.
Popcorn flick. It was fun. Fun movie.
So
and I like Charlie Day. So
yeah.
So the guy who is the showrunner on this, who's the head writer, his name's Matt Fraction, and in his IMDb, he's basically only written video games. Up until about 2014, he did one episode of Da Vinci's Demons. He did Hawkeye, the comic book, I believe, and that's pretty much all there is to him. So he doesn't seem to have a lot of stuff under his belt. So I'm a little bit skeptical about how good of a series he's going to produce, but we'll see. Hopefully it is good. And I am surprised that like Apple was able to make this deal with Legendary as opposed to HBO, which it was Warner Brothers who released all the movies, I believe.
Right.
So I think Legendary.
But you would assume HBO would have the TV show. Right?
Yeah.
I think Legendary is my favorite studio out there right now.
They make pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
pretty good stuff. All right, so let's start talking about the thing that probably everyone in chat is here for, which is the Firefly reboot. And this is one of the reasons we wanted to have the Popcast on, because they recently made a fantastic video about this. Now, just to set the stage, ever since Disney bought Fox and they got the rights to Firefly along with that purchase, there's been talk about Disney like rebooting Firefly and making it like a Disney Plus original series and all that stuff. And in fact, there was a news article that came out not too long ago that I tweeted about, and one of the actors from Firefly, William Baldwin, responded to me in the DM.
Adam Baldwin, right?
Adam Baldwin. Sorry.
Adam Baldwin, yeah.
Adam Baldwin.
Yeah.
Jane.
Not part of the Alec Baldwin.
It's no family.
Yeah, no relation, just
Yeah.
same last name. Anyway, he reached out to me and he said that it was BS. Nobody was going to be rebooting Firefly, at least to his knowledge. But Brian has some interesting inside information on what's going on with that. So, Brian, can you take us through like what you've heard and what we can be expecting for a Firefly reboot?
Yeah. So originally, we responded to an article from MovieWeb, and the writer, the journalist that wrote that, didn't share any sources or have any information or whatever. She literally just wrote an article that said, this is the reboot that Disney's doing. Here's their plans. They're making it family friendly. Some of what she said was correct in the sense where some older characters will come on as narrators and guides through the extending of this universe. But the majority of what she was saying was not verifiable. No way to verify it, no sources. So we reached out to her. She didn't respond initially. She eventually did, but at the time of the first video we made, reached out to Disney, reached out to everyone. No one responded. We made the video anyways, and we said, like, hey, look here, we see how she could be correct, But because there's no sources, even though it's the source, the website has been operating flawlessly as a news source since the 90s, no reason for us not to believe it. But because she didn't give any sources, we didn't believe it. And then we got an email from someone saying that they were close to the production in some way, or close to the team that was actually assigned to Firefly at Disney. And then we thought it was nonsense. Listen, we get a lot of those emails. Just so you guys know, if you're ever trying to prank us, we get a lot of those emails. A lot of people try to reach out and become insiders, and 99.999% of them have no information.
Well, I know I've just made up some stuff and sent emails before just to see what you do.
Right, and we have friends on YouTube that have made entire productions around inside sources, and we've had. Listen, I'm not gonna not name names, but we have friends that have made videos that have gotten hundreds of thousands of views based on the same source that we saw in an email and said that's nonsense and just deleted it. They just went on to continue to make videos. So we didn't initially take it seriously. We did respond and we said, hey, listen, great information. He had more information than other people did. So we said, if you can verify your source some way, and he sent us, we saw his social media. We saw who he was connected to. We even got a picture. He was very thorough in his proving to be a source. And so then we got to pick his brain. And from what we gathered, it's very early, obviously, but there's an active project for the reboot of Firefly. It's going to continue the legacy of Firefly, ignoring the events of the movie, continuing from the TV show. Ignoring the events of the movie, probably because the movie just pretty much rehashed the TV show, then killed Wash, right? So they're going to continue on from the TV show. Family friendly is not the correct word for it, because it's using the same team that Mandalorian and Boba Fett and that team. Favreau's people are involved. They're actually in the middle of financing it. So this is how early it is. They're actually setting up the finance, and the guy who's in charge of some of the story points and all that is connected to our source. And what he said was they're going to start dipping a little Firefly into upcoming stuff, and the older characters like Mal and Nathan Fillion and Jane, Adam Baldwin. I'm not sure about Adam Baldwin, but the older characters will be involved as narrators and sort of like your guide to the Firefly universe. In the same way, when we first opened up Firefly and Serenity, how that sort of disembodied voice was explaining the universe, that will be the older characters sort of explaining what the newer characters are dealing with. So they won't be a part of the show in the traditional sense.
Well, is it a new crew that we're following?
It'll probably be a new crew, and we didn't get a lot of information on that. But it'll be new actors and a new crew. And what we'll do is we'll get cameos from the old crew, and someone big will be the overall narrator for the first season. And that was their idea. So probably Nathan Fillion, or who knows.
I mean, they're going to have to do something to bridge the gap and to make the old fans accept this, right? I mean, then the way to do that is to, have some, some familiarity with the old show going into the new show. So,
yeah, fun fact: Nathan Fillion is a Disney employee.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that, but like his last 3 or 4 projects have all been either Fox or Disney. So he's working very closely at Disney. It's just not obvious because they're it's not a Disney, cartoon or Marvel or whatever. Actually, I think he did some Marvel stuff too. So anyways, yeah, so that's the news. And there's a little more information.
He was in The Suicide Squad. Real quick, Ensign Ricky for $2 says, "Hey man, at Brian, good to see you. Hope all is well."
Good to see you. Yeah. So the details are it's not going to be family friendly in that sense. It's gonna be more like Mandalorian or I guess Boba Fett, sort of Bad Batch style. And I'm assuming that's the style. There's the same team in that are working on those shows are going to be working on Firefly, and it makes sense. Space Western. It's the same style. It makes complete sense.
Just lost Sean. Space Western.
Huh? Well, no, I mean
that's what Firefly is. Firefly is Cowboy Bebop of live action.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, that's one of the things that it felt like, because I had to revisit Firefly, the first episode last night, because I watched the first episode when it premiered out of curiosity, and it really didn't grab me. So I revisited it last night. And it felt very Star Warsy to me. It felt like it could be very easily in the same universe.
Are you watching it correctly though? Because they aired it out of order.
Yeah,
I know. It was they screwed up all the order. I mean, I just revisited the first episode, and it was it didn't grab me, because I'm one of these. I'm a pessimistic optimist, which is one of the reasons why Star Wars or Star Trek always appealed to me, was because it's humanity. It's not a dystopian; it's a utopian type of future. And every other science fiction franchise, except for the Orville, is all, dystopian. And this is just another one of those type of everything's dirty and worn out and everything. And I mean, I guess it has potential. I guess. Like everything,
there's no aliens.
No, that's what it felt like. It felt like Star Wars with no aliens, or Persephone, right? That was the planet.
There was no aliens. There's no hyperdrive or whatever.
Right, and that was the other thing too that I noticed. I was like, wait a minute, those look like rocket engines. Very impractical for interstellar travel. You're not going to.
There is no interstellar travel. That's not how they operate. The universe is so much smaller. In Firefly, everything's operating from like a handful of
real quick, guys, we got a $5 super chat from Joker Voice. Got a scoot. Great stream, cool panel. Like, subscribe, and share the Salty Nerd podcast. Check out my channel as well. # keep talking. Thank you very much, Joker. Appreciate that. So real quick, Andre Enrico had a question about, will Joss Whedon be involved? He created it. Doesn't Disney have to consult him? The answer is no.
No.
What is that? What is that buzzing? Somebody buzzing and clicking something?
Sorry, that's a call coming in from a colleague.
Joss Whedon is
he's
ain't gonna be around for a while. He's gone.
He's canceled.
He's canceled.
He is, but also Fox owned that IP. Just because Joss Whedon created it doesn't mean he owned it. So a whole new creative team is coming in and taking it over.
Another reason to ignore the movie is because Sony had distribution rights for Serenity. Mm-hmm. So
I was actually surprised that they were going to ignore the movie, because the movie was actually very good.
Very good.
It kind of set up it set up further stories, but it also kind of brought the whole Summer Glau storyline to conclusion. And it was just I liked the movie a lot. So I'm surprised that they're just going to ignore it.
It's on my top 5. Serenity and Stargate. Serenity is an amazing film. Except for the problem with Serenity from a fan perspective is that it was made assuming that you had not seen the TV show. So it actually recapped a lot of the TV show, sort of telling the same story. Serenity was like, here's the movie version of, what Joss wanted to do in the TV show had it not been canceled.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I was. Can I ask though? I mean, do they ever explain the distances that they're talking about with these? Because it really bugs me when they just make it so easy to go from one place to another. I don't know exactly how the universe works. Off the top of my head, I would look, but it's not in the same sense. It's not like Star Trek where they're warping to different systems, and it's not like it's not like hyperspace in Star Wars. Everything's a little more practical, and everything's built around the idea. Let's say, excuse me, in 1,000 years, who's the superpowers on Earth? You got China and the U.S. and
whoever else, right? And they sort of become like this sort of amalgamation of pop culture and language and
They become
finance
an empire, right?
Right. And so then they go out into the universe and into the solar system, expanding. And so our language and the way we talk and our culture and what we eat and what we watch and sort of like the aesthetics of everything is sort of an amalgamation of these cultures, the Western and the Eastern cultures. And I love the way they speak and their slang it's not, here's the future. We all talk the same.
Yeah. Also, in the colonization of the verse, as they call it,
Right.
it's all very low tech. Like you get out there and it is just like the homesteaders from the Old West, where they're out on these random planets that don't have access to technology, and you have like these weird space pirates called Reapers, and the Empire had something to do with the creation of them. And at the center, there's this like civil war where the people who went out and kind of colonized all these new planets rose up against the Empire, and the Empire ended up winning. So the bad guys won, and the crew of the Serenity were like holdovers from, they call them the Brown Coats.
Right, it's like the Civil War.
The rebels.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it feels a lot like The Expanse, which I'm more familiar with, but and I mean, because it's almost the same type of thing. But The Expanse does make more logical sense because they explain it. It's all within our star system. But I think, I don't know if I guess if Favreau and the same people are involved, they might do it some justice. But I do agree that it's going to be difficult selling a brand new cast to people because they're not coming back for anything other than
nostalgia.
The nostalgia bait. And
I mean, dude, the universe is so rich, though. I would love to see anything expanding that universe. Like Cadis just mentioned, that is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to it. And when they set up, even like I said, even as the little things like the way they talk, their slang, it's so integrated. Everything feels, once you're there, everything feels so real. And it just sort of works. Like even they tell jokes inside the show and the movies using their own slang, where if you're not a fan, you won't get the joke.
You won't get it, right? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool because there is
ain't nothing Twitch. My nethers ain't run on batteries in weeks.
Also, there's been some rumors out there that they're going to be kind of combining it with Star Wars. I've just heard that they're just going to be doing like little Easter eggs in Star Wars.
It's just Easter eggs. They're not going to combine it. What they're going to do is they're going to throw a Firefly class ship in the back of a shot somewhere, just to
be like in the prequels when they put the Enterprise flying through Coruscant, right?
Right.
And it's fine.
They did that.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah,
in Star Trek First Contact, a Millennium Falcon flies in the background.
Yeah, that's really cool. When it comes to Firefly, I have a confession to make, guys. I've only watched half of the original run of Firefly.
I'm so jealous of you right now. I'm so jealous.
I couldn't get into it. I had a hard time with this show, but it's been so long now. I don't really remember why.
Watch the movie, dude.
There was something there. Maybe it was my mindset at the time. Maybe I was too busy raiding or something in Molten Core with my 40-man group or something. I don't know. But there was something. Roy? There was Jerrycans. There was something else in my life that just kept me away from Firefly. So I think I'm going to just take a vow to the nerds and to you guys now. I will get caught up and have an actual opinion on Firefly in the next few months. I'm just
I would be fascinated if you watch the movie before the TV show, because everyone watches the TV show than the movie. I want to know what happens in reverse.
Vader, we're probably going to do Firefly for one of our Patreon.
Yeah, but that's only going to be 4 episodes, so I'm going to have to watch the whole thing because it's only 16 episodes or something like that, right?
14, yeah. I only watched the first episode, so that was it. Never grabbed me either.
And did you watch the correct first episode though?
I have no idea.
No, he watched it when it premiered.
Oh, because they aired it way out of order. So
I understand that. Yeah,
it was like they aired like episode 5 and then 8 and then 1 and then 3.
You know what this is? This would be a really good discussion on our Discord server on our coming soon Firefly section about the proper order to watch the series in. So we'll have to make that happen. So
we have a Firefly doc that explains it. If you want,
I do want to watch it in the correct order when I start watching it. Probably in the next couple of weeks, I'll start doing that. So
yeah, I revisited the premiere episode, last night just to refresh my memory because it didn't grab me. So and I didn't see Serenity. So I mean I'd be coming in kind of fresh.
Serenity is a great movie. Yeah, those are my top 5 sci-fi movies for myself, and I'm a basic sci-fi fan. I don't get into it deep, but it's like Stargate, Star Trek, Serenity, Fifth Element, and I'm sorry, those 4. My 5th one would probably be one of the Star Wars movies, but I couldn't tell you which one.
I'm actually surprised they haven't made a Fifth Element TV show yet.
Right? Sure where's that at? It's such a rich
Lilu, right?
I want to see
multipass.
Chris Rock or whatever. What was that guy's name?
Yeah, Chris Tucker. Yeah, only
Chris
if he's
Tucker.
in it. If he's in it, I'm there.
As Ruby Rod.
Yeah.
And you guys know Bruce Wayne's doing it. This guy will
Bruce
show up to
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. He'll show up to shoot if you give him like $100 and a sandwich.
I'm very disappointed in Bruce Willis's career track right now.
Really.
He's like on like
Bruce Willis doesn't give a fuck anymore.
He's on the 4th sequel of a franchise that I didn't even know. If you go to his IMDb, he's doing like the Frontier 17, right? It's the weirdest thing.
Dude, they pay him like millions of dollars to show up for like 2 days of shooting. And they shoot him out, and then the rest is just a stand-in for like the back of his head. And
he phones it in. Yeah, that's greedy and lazy.
He did a sci-fi movie where he played like a hologram or something. Oh god!
Oh, we reviewed that. That was
Did you?
That was Breach.
Breach.
Awful.
Yes,
Awful.
I watched that movie and I was like, "What is happening right now?"
We really need to quit watching so many bad movies, Matt, for our show. It's awful.
Yeah, Bruce. Yeah, Bruce. Yeah, so Bruce is not as bad as Nick Cage, but at least Nick Cage.
Whoa. But
Nick Cage leans into it. He'll be like, "Let me make a really good movie, then let me make like 5 really bad movies, and then one really good movie." Bruce Willis is just like, "Let's make nothing but bad movies."
But you can always count on Nick Cage to give it his all. He swings for the fences. Everything he does.
No matter what the role.
No matter what it is.
There's a movie coming out soon. I forget the name of it, where Nick Cage plays Nick Cage
himself. Yeah, with
yes, I can't wait to watch it.
And it looks amazing.
It's called The Unbearable Weight of Immense Talent, I believe.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, whatever Nick Cage does, he swings for the fences. And Bruce Willis nowadays is drunk half the time, and it's obvious it's a stand-in. When the camera moves angles, it's like a different person. Like the guy's 3 inches taller. Right. He has a tattoo on his shoulder. He's barely trying.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Well, hey.
But he gets paid a lot of money for doing like 1 day of work. So
good for him. Hey man, good for him.
Yeah.
Not even mad. Good dude. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah. All right. So if the Firefly reboot happens, will we be watching it, Vader?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, how could we not?
You guys better be watching it with me. Yeah, I need to get invited to some of these cool Patreon things you guys do.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll get David Hewlett on with you.
I have no nerds to watch TV with. It's just me sitting here in my little office. My wife occasionally comes in and throws food at me and then runs away.
So I'm gonna use that as a bit of a segue. On our Discord server, saltinerdiscord.com. I know me personally, I host a viewing party, a watch party every Monday night, but I do it late. I have to do it after the better half of myself goes to sleep. But I always use that time to watch the Patreon show that we're going to go to the basement and record the next day. So it's fresh in my mind. So I host a watch party in our viewing channel every Monday night around 10:30 is when I do it.
But if our campaign to get 10,000 YouTube subscribers and 1,000 Patreon followers succeeds, you'll have a lot more time to do that throughout the week.
This is true. Yes.
Yeah.
I need a tattoo, guys. You make it happen. Let's go.
All right. So that is our show for today, everyone. Check us out at saltinerd.com. That has all of our videos and audio episodes up on it, along with some blog posts and all that good stuff. Shane, or I'm sorry, Brian, where can they find out more about you guys and what you do?
You can find us at youtube.com/thepopcast. You can also find us on Twitter, Popcast Guys, because some 14-year-old guy has the Popcast for some reason. So Popcast Guys, and then Facebook and all the other places. But we don't really check those places, so just Twitter. And also we have a second show on YouTube where it's all live stuff. So we do on our main channel, we just do documentary style videos. And that's what we're known for. Awesome. But we do have a live show, Popcast Live, and that's on the Popcast Unleashed. You can find it. You Google it, you'll find it. And that is when we do a show like this. And Matt Cage has been on, and Matt Vader's been on, and I have not invited Sean yet. I'm sorry, Sean.
I'm there if you need me.
We invite people on often, and a lot of the times it's just me and my brother too. And we do the same thing we're doing here. We just talk about nerd stuff. Yeah.
All right. And Sean, where can they find more about you?
Nowhere. I have no social media presence at all because I just don't care. But College of Southern Nevada is where I teach. I teach in the film program. It's the #1 film program that you're going to find, especially for the price. So check us out at CSN and come learn how to make films.
Oh, Sean, I found you online. You're on Grindr, right?
Damn.
Exposed. Yeah. Vader, what are we going to be recording this week for the Salty Nerd podcast?
We are recording Aliens and Predator movies, I believe. Aliens.
Oh no.
Aliens.
Awesome.
Predators.
James Cameron Aliens.
Yeah. Predators, where they're all stuck on the hunting planet with Lawrence Fishburne and the group of 4 predators. And
awesome.
The best movie ever made, AVP, where they're fighting in the subarctic pyramid. Right? Yes. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
I love those. I know people hate those movies. I love those movies.
So
I just revisited Predator 2 a week ago, and I'd forgotten how it actually wasn't bad.
Here's the deal. I didn't really like most of the Alien movies except for the first one. But when you added Aliens and Predator together, then I got interested.
Yes.
That becomes interesting. I want to see more of that universe. I love the fact that the very first real connected universe was Alien and Predator. That was awesome.
I saw that in Predator 2 when I saw the skeleton, and I was like, oh, I'm there. And then when they went to AVP, and I sat in the theater, and I think I was checked out before I opened my milk duds. It was.
Listen, it's got pyramids underneath ice sheets in Antarctica. It's got Lance Henriksen. It's got.
That's true.
The coolest pyramid ever made. It's just.
What about the Super Predator? That guy was awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's a dope ass movie.
That movie's dope, bro.
Yeah.
People that
Paul W.S. Anderson stank all over it.
You guys, you're asking for too much if you look at this movie for anything more than it is. It's monsters fighting monsters. It's Kong versus Godzilla.
There you go.
Just have a good time
with some really dumb humans getting stuck in the middle.
Some real dumb humans. They're just basically fodder.
But we're also watching Doctor Who Waters of Mars. We're going to be talking about that for the Patreon show. And we're also talking about the next episode 4 of Peacemaker. And we're interviewing the showrunner of Netflix's Norseman, John Ivar Helgiker. So if you're a Norseman fan, we're going to be doing that. And for about half of those, we're going to be broadcasting live on Twitter, as we normally do on recording days through our Twitter spaces. So if you want to listen to the show being recorded live, see how the sausage is made, you can follow us on Twitter and check us out there. We've got a very big show lined up for the last week of January, and then we're going into February. And Vader, what show are we covering in February?
I believe Jude has us covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Woo! I'm in.
Yes. She's gone and curated 4 of her favorite episodes that she's trying to.
I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That sounds so weird to say, but I love Angel more actually. Her
goal was to find episodes that Alex would watch and become a fan of the show with. I'm not sure she's going to succeuld.
I can tell you the episodes. Find the episodes where they wear the least amount of clothing. Alex will love it.
Yeah.
You don't know Alex, dude. You don't know Alex.
That's me. I need.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I just figured either way it works.
Some more Joss Whedon stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Jude is a huge Buffy fan, so it's cool.
And
awesome.
everyone,
I do love Buffy.
Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Join us next Saturday as we talk about more geeky, nerdy movie, TV show stuff. And don't forget to spread the word about Matt Vader's butt cheek tattoo. We really need to make that happen. And as always, stay salty, my friend.